Hello, everyone. This is Eva Nolik-Smith with Yoga U Online, and I am very pleased to be here today with Ayurvedic physician, Dr. Suhas Kshirsagar. Dr. Kshirsagar is a very prominent Ayurvedic physician in the US, as well as a medical astrologer and Vedic counselor. And he combines extensive knowledge of the Ayurvedic approach to natural healing with a very practical, sharp mind. Dr. Kshirsagar has treated more than 15,000 clients successfully, and he serves as lead faculty at several Ayurvedic institutions worldwide. He is a featured presenter at NAMA and ACVA, and he has also presented the Ayurvedic wisdom sharing stage with the likes of Deepak Chopra, Tony Robbins, Wayne Dyer, and many other inspirational visionaries. Dr. Kshirsagar is also the author of several books, including the most recent one called Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life: How to Harness the Power of Clock Genes to Lose Weight, Optimize Your Workout, and finally get a good night's sleep. Welcome, Dr. Kshirsagar. We are so happy to have you.
Thank you, Eva. It's always a great joy to be with you and with our virtual community with Yoga U Online.
Yes, we have missed you. You always provide some of the most valuable insights into Ayurveda that I have come across in my many different studies of Ayurveda. So we very much appreciate it. Now, I want to dive straight in and talk about your book, because you use the term clock genes in the book, and that kind of piqued my curiosity. What exactly are clock genes and why are they important?
Well, I think it's a very important concept, and this is something which is from the new field of chronobiology that we know. Chrono means time, and biology means the physiological functioning of the cells, tissues, and the physiological functioning of the organs and the organ system. It was earlier believed that we have a master clock in our brain, which is called as SCN, which is suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is deeply embedded in hypothalamus, which is called as the brain's brain. And that gets activated every time you're exposed to daylight, sun, and the evening darkness, and that's what resets certain physiological functioning. But that was an old school of thought. I think the new discovery, and this year's Nobel Prize went to 3 American physiologists who actually discovered the cycling of the clock genes, which activate so many functions which are related with the fat metabolism, carbohydrate metabolism. It is related with regulating various chronic diseases, the way we create them, and how it turns on and turns off certain important functions and kind of turn on certain disease-causing genes as such. So what I'm trying to highlight in the book is that if at all we are doing some wrong things at the wrong times of the day, then it actually affects the various clocks that we have in the body. And with the latest discovery, we know that the clocks are embedded in our genes, and we need to respect those with everything that we do. So we need to align all our activities that we are doing with the times, 24-hour circadian rhythms in our body. And if at all, for example, you're exercising at 10 o'clock in the night, and there are places that you can go in this country which are open 24/7. And then if you're doing even the right thing at the wrong time, that is what is creating a lot of havoc on your system itself. Even though you are eating clean, healthy, organic food at, say, 10 o'clock in the night, it is still going to disrupt the physiological function in the body itself. So it is not what you do, it's when you do is more important. So it's not what you eat, when you eat more important. It's not how much sleep you get, it's exactly when you sleep is more important. It's not how much exercise you get, it's exactly when you exercise is more important. So the latest science of clock genes and chronobiology actually highlights this very ancient Ayurvedic concept that we must respect the time and sync our daily routine and everything. Because whether we like it or not, we are totally affected by the rhythms around us, whether we talk about seasonal rhythms, whether we talk about tidal rhythms, lunar rhythms, circadian rhythms. We are affected with Earth, which is moving around sun and moon is tumbling around earth, and there are so many different forces that are affecting to every single cellular organism on planet earth itself. So I think it is high time to realize that what we are doing when, and going back to the ancient wisdom of Ayurveda, which is probably the only science that has ever even talked about daily routine and seasonal routine and nightly routine. And this becomes really important in the latest medical discovery that we have now.
That's really interesting. I'm familiar with this concept in terms of the Ayurvedic concept of eating. Most people probably heard that the digestive fire, or Agni, is stronger at lunchtime than at dinner. And I think that certainly bears out in most people's experience, that your digestive power isn't quite as active at night. But you made reference to a couple of other examples that I hadn't heard about before, like, for example, when you exercise.
Well, I think food is no doubt important. Means from an Ayurvedic perspective, sleep, diet, and exercise, this is the tripod of life. And if you do all these three things at the right time, and you were mentioning about food, and the ancient Ayurvedic wisdom is when the sun is coming out, it is tender sunlight in the morning. So the quality of the breakfast that you have in the waking hours, you were sleeping for 7, 8, 9 hours, the body is still waking up. It is the kapha time of the day, which is you're feeling a little bit dull, heavy, slow, maybe even congested. So the quality of the breakfast has to be light, because that's the quality of the light that you have with sunlight. And as the sun gets prominent in the middle of the day, that's when you should be eating your main meal of the day itself. And when it's the fading sunlight in the evening, again, it warrants a lighter dinner close to sunset itself. But the common epidemic that we have, and when I wrote my first book, The Hot Belly Diet, was that about 71% of Americans are eating more than 70% of their calories after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And if you are eating a big meal late in the evening, and then you sleep on top of it, your heart rate, pulse rate, respiratory rate, even the metabolic rate slows down, and the food stays into your system without being digested. And then you wake up feeling dull, heavy, groggy, congested, and you will need some truckloads of caffeine to get you going, which suppresses your appetite, and then it doesn't make you really hungry at the right time and kind of disrupts everything throughout the day. So the latest research that came out, it says that eat late to gain some weight, sleep late to gain some weight. And most of the country does both of them. And I think when we are having this massive epidemic of people coming back late in the evening, and I see so many people in my clinical practice that they wake up first thing in the morning, and then they dash out to the door and grab something through a drive-through with a coffee or a pastry or something, and then they are stuck in their cubicles or workplace all day long trying to grab something to eat here and there, and then brave the evening traffic. And then by evening they come, they're completely exhausted, and they're eating their biggest meal late in the evening and off for a passive entertainment late in the night. And then again, you're sleeping for 7, 8, 9 hours. So it's the sedentary lifestyle coupled with bad eating timing is one of the key challenges that we have. And it is affecting your carbohydrate metabolism. It is affecting your insulin resistance. So we are creating this massive epidemic of prediabetes in even more or less healthy people who are not necessarily eating bad foods, but just at the wrong times.
Interesting. Yeah, because I think most people have heard about the concept of lifestyle medicine, which is becoming increasingly important in the Western framework. But they really only look at, the kind of food you eat and how much exercise you get, and to some degree also how much sleep. But this whole concept of when you eat and when you exercise, that is something I guess Ayurveda has said for thousands of years.
I'm glad you brought it up, because I think Ayurveda is the original lifestyle medicine that is known to humanity. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I say that, it is often misunderstood as Ayurveda is about diet only, or herbal food supplements, or getting massages. But I think the biggest component of Ayurveda is lifestyle medicine. There's an age-old saying in Ayurveda that we say that if you follow the rules of diet and behavior, there is no need of medicine. But if you don't follow the rules of diet and behavior, there is no use of medicine.
Mm.
And I think this is what we are painfully realizing. And if you look at the latest research, about 80% of all chronic diseases are caused, and all causes of mortality are because of lifestyle diseases, which is heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all of those bundled together.
Mm-hmm.
And 80% of the chronic diseases can not only be prevented, but even reversed by simple changes in diet and lifestyle. And there's enough science and research to back this up now. So I think we have to go back to the individual health for each person, that how well they participate in their own health and well-being. One of the things that I'm talking in my upcoming book, Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life, is our lifestyle has gotten very, very busy. And increasingly, we are becoming more and more disconnected from our bodily functions. So we are not aware how hungry we feel, or whether we are even thirsty, or whether we are feeling sleepy, or whether we are feeling tired and we need a break or something. We are so disconnected from our body that our schedules overtakes all the bodily functions. And then you end up doing a lot of wrong things. So the busy lifestyle is something which is creating this epidemic of what I call it as non-communicable diseases. And this is an actual term what the United Nations use, called as non-communicable diseases, because people are dying not because of epidemics like plagues and polio and stuff like that, but it is because of these lifestyle diseases. And they are literally non-communicable because you're not communicating with yourself.
Right.
You are more busy with your social media and so-called virtual community, and your internet and emails and texting, that you are literally outsourcing your health at the whims and fancies of other people who are not even there in your life, but they have right to change the biochemistry and the physiology at will.
Interesting.
Because every good and bad post that you get, every time you get a text, there's almost it necessitates the response. And I think what you're doing is you're not paying attention to it. You're trying to connect with everyone at all times, and that multitasking is actually making you not mindful but mindless. And it's creating a lot of disconnection from the body. And I think we're feeling the time crunch. The more cash rich we become, we are becoming more time poor. Right. And the time poverty is the real essence right now. So everybody feels time impoverished, and you even feel, many patients I see, they feel even guilty to go on a vacation, because I would rather be working and earning some money instead of having a jolly good time for myself and my family. And that whole pressure, especially on young people, on millennials, it's literally killing them. And the schedules is literally killing them. It is becoming so busy. I jokingly say that we are becoming human doings instead of human beings.
Right.
Not present, we are not watchful, we are not mindful. Our eating times, exercising time, even the time to create and foster a happy, healthy relationship is being missed out. So it is becoming a social challenge, which is affecting every person's physical health and well-being.
Yeah. It sounds like you're speaking in particular from the experience of the clients you see in your practice.
Well, clients and students alike. I go around the country to teach quite a bit, and I actually see, and I have my fingers on the pulse, what people are doing at times. And I see this in the form of diseases. And this disconnection is happening. For example, if women are busy making a career and suddenly they blink and you're 40, and then you realize that you want to start a family life and you wanted to have children and everything. And many times that internal clock gets disrupted. Mm-hmm. People are doing these late night business calls. I practice in Silicon Valley, and so many people have their teams in China or Taiwan or India. Mm-hmm. So they wrap up the day's work and they're working at 9 to 12 or 1 o'clock in the night with their teams in other part of the globe itself.
Right.
And when you're disrupting all these clocks, the way the body functions, you're not sleeping at the right time, and then you start feeling accumulated fatigue, exhaustion, right, lack of mental clarity and focus. And these are symptoms where we don't have an ICD code that we will circle that this is what you're having. You have to wait until it really takes form and shape in a chronic disease, which not always that you can reverse. I see so many people who spend their health to get some wealth, And afterward, they would like to share their wealth with you to regain the health, which is not always possible.
Right. So what you're saying is that you're seeing all the preclinical issues that 5-10 years down the road will likely develop into chronic disease.
And it can be summarized as inflammation as the epidemic. Every body is getting inflamed in its own way. So it kind of affects Vata body type differently, Pitta body type differently, Kapha body type differently. And they're creating this spectrum of imbalances. And as we said, disruptions in the clock genes at a cellular level, at a molecular level, is the main challenge. And one of the things that what I wrote in my book is called a social jet lag. And this is a huge problem right now, because people kind of somehow behave during Monday to Friday. They're leaving early in the morning, they're going to work and trying to eat clean foods and everything. But come Friday, you have license to stay up late and eat and drink late and party. And then Friday night, you are eating too late of food and everything. And then you wake up and you have license to sleep in. So you're waking up 10, 11, 12, and then the first food that you will eat is in place of breakfast. Then you eat late. And then again, Saturday night is the same old story.
Yeah.
And you can't get a reservation in any decent restaurant in this country on Friday and Saturday nights until you really are creative to plan them or book them ahead. And then you are waking up around 11:30 or 12 on Saturday morning, on Sunday morning, and come Monday, you have to wake up at 6 o'clock and show up to work by 8:30. It's as if that you have taken a cross-country flight every weekend. Right. And you have a 3 or 4 hour time zone change that is affecting your bodily clock, your bowel movements, your digestion, your sleep, your energy. Everything is affected for at least that many days, for another 3 to 4 days, because you violated it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to take another 3 days to reset that. And by Thursday, one more time, the Friday is here and you do it all over again. And so many people are in this situation, creating this constant social jet lag. And on top of that, if you are traveling, God, means this is even going to create a lot of disruption. And if you have, say, a late night shift or some swing shifts, they call them, even United Nations have called them as known carcinogen. There's a reason why we call late night shift as graveyard shifts. Right. And if you are doing one of those graveyard shifts, you have to be absolutely careful with what time you eat and how you eat and what kind of caffeine you drink in the night to keep you awake, all of those things. So you have to be super, super careful about that. So I think one of the premise of change your schedule, change your life is all about helping people understand that what your day job is the secondary importance. What you do for yourself is much more important.
Yeah, that's a beautiful point. What are some of the early signs that people should be alert to that their body is getting out of balance? Is it just feeling miserable or not sleeping well?
It means all of that for sure. But actually, objectively speaking, it creates almost a feeling of low energy. It's almost a feeling as if you're feeling tired most of the time. And in spite of being tired, you have difficulty in falling asleep and staying asleep, because your mind is still very active and your body is not tired enough. So I think what you feel is having a low energy. You are waking up tired in the morning. That's also one of the signs. Irregularities in your digestive functions. You feel gassy and bloated most of the times. Your moods are slowly shifting and changing. You become snappy, grumpy, irritable, or you become depressed for no good reason as such. And more likely, it is going to create a mental fog where your focus, concentration, your cognitive function is almost slowly fading away and your attention span is decreasing. These are all functional symptoms, but they're all true. And when I ask these questions to many people, they all nod their head and say yes to that. But they're not sick enough to have one disease diagnosis to go and get it fixed. But resetting their schedule, and I've done this with thousands of people, and it resets everything. And one of the key components that I spoke in my book was early morning exercise. And that's also an age-old Ayurvedic concept. So when you wake up in the morning is the kapha time of the day between 6 to 10 a.m. in the morning. Right. So before breakfast, if you do some brisk, vigorous physical movement and exercise, even if it's for 20, 30 minutes each day, and then you're ready for a lighter breakfast, then you're hungry for lunchtime. You're wide awake when you show to work, and you don't need mega doses of caffeine to plow through the day as such. And then you're hungry at lunchtime, and then it resets those functions, and then you're pleasantly tired by the end of the day, and you will be able to fall asleep easily. And one of the challenges that I also mentioned in my book was exposure to artificial light and blue light. So blue light is something coming from iPads and e-readers and television screens and computer screens. That is all affecting the release of melatonin in the night. So around 9 o'clock, you start peaking up your melatonin secretions, which help you fall asleep. And if you're exposed to an artificial light at that time, then it's going to delay. It mimics as if it's daytime, because your eyes are seeing something really, really bright at that time. And then it's not going to release the intensity of melatonin that is going to make you fall asleep easily. And then since you are having trouble falling asleep, you're going to fall asleep late. You are probably desirous of eating a snack after 10 o'clock because you're in the pitta phase of the night itself. And then you are eating some bad unwanted food at that time, and you blink and it's close to midnight, and then you're sleeping on the same day, waking up early in the same day, and then you will need a couple of cups of caffeine to get you going in the morning, and then you are having no energy to actually do physical exercise. Because one of the key signs in Ayurveda is whether can you wake up without any alarm clock on your own around that 6 o'clock in the morning, because then your sleep is done and you're waking up naturally, and you're feeling actually energized to have enough juice to get going to do that morning workout that is needed.
Wow, that's amazing. So what, for the people that you see in clinic, when you help them reset, how long does it take to get a result? And then are there like certain key things that are most important, or it's like a package of many different things?
I think there are 4 or 5 very key important things that we talk about. And it takes somewhere close to 4 to 6 weeks to reset their circadian rhythms. And one of the things that we often say, at least an hour or 2 before you go to sleep, stay away from any electronic gadgets. Unfortunately, most of the people, the last thing that they check in the night before they close their eyes is their cell phones. And the first thing that they look at is their cell phones also. So those are the 2 times that you should avoid and not touch those gadgets for 1 full hour before you go to sleep. Because what it does, it quietens the dialogue that you have, whether it's good news, bad news, something exciting, something good or bad that you saw, is going to haunt you and affect you in your sleep. And it affects the melatonin release in the evening, and it affects the cortisol secretions in the morning, because cortisol peaks at that time when you wake up around 8 o'clock in the morning, and you want that to get going through the day itself. So I tell them to stay away from watching television or any blue light entertainment at least an hour or so before you go to bed, and 1 hour after you wake up in the morning. That's one key component. Second is eat with the sunlight. So have a lighter breakfast, have lunch as the main meal of the day, and have a lighter dinner before 7 o'clock in the evening. So at least you have 3 full hours to digest your meal before you go to sleep in the night itself. The third thing that we often tell them is making sure you do a vigorous, brisk workout first thing in the morning. And if you start your day before breakfast with some 20-30 minutes of brisk cardio, it actually resets everything. And there's a lot of research which says that those people who do their exercise in the morning before breakfast actually have easy regulation of defending their body from insulin resistance or preventing prediabetes or blood sugar fluctuations as such. And I think that is very important. So exercising is important, sleeping time, the sleeping routine itself. And these may sound very simple things to do, but they have really far-reaching implications. Another thing which I discussed in the book is avoiding unwanted snacking. Because if you add everything that people try to eat throughout the day, more so than 3 meals, they end up in eating 8, 10, sometimes even 12 to 15 times a day. Whether you add all the sugary beverages and things that you add throughout the day, that counts as a calorie meal itself. And so trying to avoid eating anything between breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and sipping plain neutral pH water throughout the day. Ideally hot, but if you can do something of that kind, would also help you reset your digestive function and metabolic function.
Yeah, yeah, beautiful. And we're very excited because you will also be offering a course on Yoga U in the near future on Ayurvedic tools for self-care, going more deeply into just the amazing power we have by simple home remedies to regulate our health and really take greater control of our health and well-being. Tell us about the course and what you will be covering.
I think the course is giving us a little bit more practical tools about how to reset your schedule. What are the best thing? What is the most ideal time to wake up in the morning? What is the best time to go to sleep in the evening itself? What are the different things that you can do for identifying your body type and selecting the right kind of physical movements, exercise, even certain foods according to your body type itself. So there are certain rituals that even Ayurveda talks about, whether you talk about day-to-day oil massage, putting drops in your nose. There is some travel hygiene that I tell quite a few people what they should be doing when you're taking flights and changing time zones and things like that. So there are lots of valuable practical tools that we'll be discussing, which are very self-empowering. And self-empowering is the key word, because you are doing something for yourself, being in control what you should be doing. Being mindful about your own physical health and well-being. Right. So we will be talking about sleep, no doubt about that. We'll be talking about diet. We'll be talking about different qualities of food and certain good and bad qualities about food and the timings of eating. We'll be talking about some emotional ups and downs and behavior, because what we see that even changes in your circadian rhythms and routines affect you at an emotional level. And it creates almost a feeling of feeling anxious or feeling depressed or getting angry more easily, creating more inflammatory responses in the body. So learning to allow your body to really heal itself and repair itself. Because when you're sleeping in the night, that's the best time for the body to repair and heal itself. Sleep is one of the most potent anti-inflammatory activity that you will ever do.
Yeah.
And it's like a reset button. And many times we used to think that, well, whenever we can catch something and go to sleep, that's what it is. But the latest science is actually defying all of those things and simply validating all the ancient Ayurvedic principles now.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah. It's so fascinating. But I can only speak from my own experience that Ayurveda has been one of the most powerful influences. You know, yoga really makes a big difference in terms of your health and well-being, and Ayurveda also just really makes things come together in terms of, wow, if I do these things, then I can actually feel good pretty much all the time, or I can avoid colds and flus and keep good energy and so on, and sleep as well. Yeah. So we're very much looking forward to the course. Thank you so much. We very much appreciate you joining us today.
Good, thank you. I look forward to the course. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.